Hey, what's good, YouTube? It's your boy Tollax here, back with another reaction video. Today, I'm finna be looking at hip hop's biggest flops in the genre itself. By the way, guys, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if I said this in my last video, but I'm gonna tell y'all what happened. So yesterday, like I was saying on Sunday, right? I actually had my finals yesterday. Right now, I'm recording this video at 4:35 a.m. as we speak. You know what I'm saying? So yesterday I had my finals. To be honest, I feel like it went okay. You know, I'm gonna keep it a buck, bro. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I keep it real. Eh, your boy, your boy did okay. All right. It obviously not good, but yeah. And also, guys, I would truly appreciate if y'all could like, comment, subscribe, um, share the video, do all those things, especially if you're brand new. On the road to 500 subscribers, which I'm technically there, bro. Why are you not helping me out, bro? Why are you not subbing, man? It's gonna be alright. But yeah, let me start the video though.
Albums are where rappers get to show us who they really are. But unfortunately for a lot of hip-hop stars, it's becoming increasingly common for them to discover that when they try to put out a full body of work, the fan base isn't listening. Whether they've lost their buzz or hip-hop's ADD-afflicted audience have simply moved on to the next thing that's popping, it's become all too common for an artist who once seemed like they were about to make a big splash on the billboards end up struggling on the charts or not even making it there at all. To make matters worse, the extreme lengths that rappers go to in an attempt to prove that they haven't fallen off often end up digging themselves even deeper into the hole. It's your boy Luesta, and today we're diving into some of hip-hop's biggest flops, along with the downright cringe-worthy responses from the rappers themselves. So let's start with a young man whose attempts to escape the genre's shadows majorly backfired on him. When Tommy Richman first emerged with his viral TikTok hit $1 Million Baby, it kind of felt like it had come out of nowhere. But the truth was that he had been on his grind for years beforehand. Releasing singles as far back as 2019, the classically trained singer had tried his hand at everything. Although it was the woozy, dirty South sound of $1 Million Baby that stuck, and landed him a platinum-selling #1 record in 7.
I ain't gonna lie, that song was overplayed as hell, but you can't deny the success based on that song at all. For real though.
Countries. He would have had the #1 spot in America as well if it wasn't for a little beef between Kendrick and Drake. Yet, that's not how the Virginia-based artist saw it going down. Instead, the young man who signed to Brent Faiyaz's label ISO Supremacy figured that he would blow up from the album that he was prepping at that time.
It's really not how I imagined it. I really thought that I was gonna put out this album and that's how I was gonna blow up off of, oh, have you heard this album by this guy?
Body of work.
Yeah, this body of work. And I mean, I used to really not posting on TikTok. I posted on TikTok throughout 2021 for off and on for 3 years. But I was just like, all right, let me just post 4 times a day.
Yeah.
Post over and over again. And we made that song a week before and one post. And the craziest thing is that I work with a good team. These people post an independent label and they do a lot of cool stuff. And bro, we post that and it's there's no marketing behind that. There's no money behind that at all. It's just
It's clicks.
It's one big organic moment and it literally caught fire. They're making fun, making jokes on Twitter and it's the Twitter jokes went crazy and yeah, it just took a life of its own and shit. Changed our lives overnight, bro.
The project in question, titled Coyote, is his second full-length album and arrived after he had already hit it big with $1 Million Baby, alongside its relatively successful follow-up, Devil Is a Lie. And in interviews, he had grand ambitions for the record and made it out like it was about to be a classic.
December of last year.
Wow.
He's been working on this shit.
Yeah.
And even before the songs that went crazy, we've had this this body of work that we really believe in, trying to execute this concept we've had for so long. And I don't know, man, really trying to build the world because I feel we've a lot of people lost touch with just building out characters, building out worlds. And
You're right on time. You're right on time.
However, it was unfortunately anything but that. Alongside getting pretty average to negative reviews, the project also went on to sell just 3,400 copies.
Wow. And see, that's the thing, You may have one album that skyrockets and then next thing you know, it just, decreases in sales. You know what I'm saying? So it's bound to happen as far as artists flopping, especially within their music. So yeah.
in its first week. Immediately, people were pretty baffled how it could have gone so wrong. But what probably didn't help is that in the lead up to the project's release, he took a leaf out of Post Malone's book and declared he wasn't a hip-hop artist. Traditionally, this is a move which some white artists make, and it historically doesn't go over well, especially if you clearly garner success by piggybacking on hip-hop culture. Sure enough, this time was no exception.
Now is not the right time for I'm not a hip-hop artist. Yeah, I have no problem with I'm not just a hip-hop artist or I'm much more than just a hip-hop artist.
Or shut the fuck up and enjoy your wave. You don't have to address what you are to nobody.
Yeah, why are you even tweeting?
What are we talking about?
We don't. Why are you even tweeting? All you got to do, you got the easiest job in the world, Tommy Richman. Shut the fuck up.
So no matter how much he backpedaled, it still couldn't salvage the opinion of him.
Damn, I ain't gonna lie. Nah, that's true, but he could have said a better way, in my opinion. Just me being objective,
For a lot of people, the reason being that it immediately portrayed.
I love Monday.com.
What's Monday.com?
You don't know Monday.com? This is Monday.com. It's a
portrays the artist's ungratefulness for the success they've got by taking from the genre without really putting much effort to give back. He didn't have to say anything, could have just locked and said nothing. It makes him sound ungrateful for the push he got off the backing of hip-hop. When people show you who they are, believe them. Although Coyote was undoubtedly a huge flop, you could argue that he deserves some kudos for not manufacturing numbers by adding $1 Million Baby and Devil Is a Lie onto the track listing just to boost streams. But even that has divided opinion. At least he didn't add his 2 hits on the album, so props to him. That's an L. His only decent songs aren't on the record, LOL. Failing to chart on Billboard's Hot 100, this would have fallen way below what he likely projected based on the attention he garnered. And if he's lucky, he'll get another chance to overcome it and find real success. But as Coi Leray's journey tells us, that doesn't always come easy, even with repeated attempts. Exploding onto the scene in 2019, Coi Leray had many identities within hip-hop in a short space of time. She tried every flow in the book to varying effect. But it was No More Parties alongside the remix with Durkio, which pushed her to fame after it popped off on TikTok. In this respect, she was actually kind of a pioneer.
We dropped No More Parties on an off day, Wednesday. And, I took advantage of the TikTok and all of that. And at that moment, everybody tried to shit on me. It was like, oh, you're a TikTok artist and all this other stuff. And I was like, man, listen, little do y'all know, y'all all right? Listen, all right.
You know what they say? You know what they say now? If it's not broke, don't fix it. It's that simple. So her promoting her music on TikTok, you could say she's a TikTok artist all you want, but look how much success she got. You know what I'm saying? Shoot. Some of y'all would do the same thing, you feel me? Like, try and get your own work out there, And I respect the grind, Shout out to these artists, despite them flopping from time to time as well.
You knew something different. He was like, okay.
I didn't give a fuck. Once I knew that the TikTok drove streams, I'm about my money and I'm about strategy. I don't have no time to have pride and ego on people that's gonna be like, oh, you're a TikTok artist, stand in the third. Cool. If you don't appreciate the music and you hating because you can't do it the way I did, then that's cool. But check the numbers out because TikTok is helping me go crazy. And as you can see now, everybody's on TikTok.
But while she had eyes on her, she was fighting an uphill battle after becoming a meme following her dismal performance in the XXL Freshman freestyle.
You get money. Yeah. We all get money. Yeah. Bitch, you all get money. Let's go. Ay. We all get money.
Coi Leray twerking as if her freestyle wasn't ass enough. Plus, let's not forget that she's the daughter of Benzino, a man that Eminem reduced to nothing short of a punchline long ago. And as much as she tried to outrun it, the shadow still lingers. Somehow, Coi managed to keep pushing, and in 2022, she dropped her album Trendsetter via Uptown and Republic Records. And it's fair to say that in the lead up to the project, she put a lot of work into it.
How many songs do you record?
I've recorded like over 300 songs within these 3 years.
Damn.
I swear.
An all-star affair with features from Nicki Minaj, Fabio Foreign, Polo G, and others, all signs suggested that she might have had a hit on her hands. And Coi even cockily claimed a chart topper was on the way.
I know album on the way. We getting it this year, next year. What we thinking?
You're getting the album next year for sure. I've never dropped the album, so keep in mind I'm fresh off tour with no album. On Rolling Loud with no album. When I do drop it, it will be #1 everywhere. And I can't wait.
But it's fair to say that this comment came back to bite her on the other end. Debuting with just 11,000 first-week sales and a peak performance of 89 on the Billboard chart, the record's release was disastrous when you consider the expectations she had for it. It got so bad that even Benzino trolled his own daughter over the project's lackluster performance. Once it was all said and done, however, Coi went on the defensive and suggested that the numbers were irrelevant.
When I dropped my debut album, Trendsetter, everybody was like, yo, 11K, 11K, 11K. You know, I guess like academics and everybody was like, you know, posting, doing whatever they got to do, right? But it doesn't bother me because I think about it. I've done got nominated like over 6 times for so many different things. I've already been on Billboard, you know what I'm saying, from No More Parties and Big Purr and the remix, like the original, and with Dirk. Shout out to Lil Dirk.
Hello.
And just with twinning them, and you know, I done performed at every festival stage. So I feel like a lot of people expected so much from me, and they really didn't even.
About 20 them, bro. Like especially in 2021, yo, I ain't gonna lie, if you was on TikTok during that time in 2021, I think in September, like bro, my TikTok was flooded with a bunch of videos featuring this song. My twin, no best friend. Yeah, that song.
Even look at all the things that I've accomplished without the album. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like, and even then, if you look at the numbers, like 11.5K is equal to over 300,000 streams within like 3 days I had. And
Undeterred, Coi got right back into the studio, using as many nostalgic samples as she could. A track which borrowed the beat from Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Fives' The Message. The success of Players suggested that she might have had more luck this time around, as it provided her with her first real hit on the charts. And in the lead up to dropping her sophomore album, Coi, she claimed it was her most personal record.
I don't know, I'm getting in depth. Like, I feel like I have to tap every subject. I go through so much, I always write through experience. So whether it's about relationships, love, you know, with Man's World, I get very vulnerable. I feel like, you know, it's not, I wouldn't say it's a letter to my dad, but it's more like an open journal. And just, you know, instead of social media and things like that, like I really, you know, it's about putting it in the music. So I did that with Man's World, and even with Bitch Girl, like I'm talking my shit.
Once again, even with a big single and a supporting cast which included EDM Kingpin David Guetta, the project performed even worse than its predecessor. When Trendsetter didn't exactly reach the highest heights of the billboards, Coi only moved 10,000 in its first week, not even cracking the top 100. Still, she did what she could in an attempt to put a positive spin on it. Grateful to have an album on the top 200 for my first week of my album release again. This time with 3 hits on the Billboard Hot 100. Whoa, I'm super proud of myself. Bigger and better year every time. Keep streaming #Coi. It's an amazing project. She wasn't the only one who was shocked, and rappers like Boosie Badass also couldn't believe it. Coi Leray should have sold at least 100K in the first week. Nobody recent got more hits than her. Either this shit is rigged, or celebrity kids just get hated on when it's time to swipe. My family is going through the same shit. We ain't stopping though, believe that. At just 27 years of age, Coi still has plenty of time to try and get an elusive hit album. But what happens when you bet your career on big numbers and still fail? Well, look no further than the difficulty Toosii is facing at the moment. A multi-talented artist with the capacity to sing and rap with equal skill, this New York artist has been doing his thing since 2017 and quietly became a star. And at times, he has found success. His debut project, Poetic Pain, sold 30K in its first week, while 2023's Najor went gold despite peaking at number 19. But even though he's doing better than many people, Toosii was unhappy with his place in the industry. In various online rants, he maintained that the profit margins aren't where he wanted them to be.
Rap ain't where it used to be. Sales ain't selling no more. Fucking, like, motherfuckers is not buying tickets like that no more to come to them concerts. Like, you feel me? The economy fucked up. Like, what? And these people want you to hold music? This shit fucked up out here. I do rap.
Feeling like he wasn't getting what he wanted out of the game, he needed a Hail Mary to put him back on everyone's radar. And as a result, he made a bold statement to his public ahead of the release of his new project titled Jaded.
Put it on my life. If my project don't at least do 20,000, I will quit rapping. Y'all got my word. I'll quit rapping. I'll go get the some other way.
With this, he had put it all on the line, and it was make or break. But unfortunately, this didn't pan out the way that he wanted it to, with the album selling only 17K in its first week. Ouch. Since then, he has been understandably trolled.
His album, Jaded, has debuted at number 50 on this week's Billboard 200 album list, and it only sold 16K. Holy. Now, keep in mind, everybody's selling around 20K. I wouldn't even make no mention of it. It wouldn't even be a big deal. But Toosii himself came online. Nobody told him to do this. Nobody asked him. Nobody challenged him. But he came out of his own ego, his own arrogance, and he volunteered this, chat.
But rather than be a man of his word, Toosii has immediately tried to walk back his daring claim. Now, he says the intention was to get the record company to help him promote the project.
I saw something that you had said that if you didn't sell a certain amount of records with this album, you were going to quit.
Facts.
You're not serious about that.
No, I'm not. No.
Okay, good. Because I'm like, dude, first of all.
Nah, I just wanted to light a fire on my label last.
Yeah, go buy the fucking album.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Just wanted to light a fire on my label last.
But at the end of the day, he just made himself look pretty untrustworthy considering how badly his publicity stunt had backfired. Basically, he played himself. Because if he hadn't made a big deal out of aiming for 20,000 plus, then 17K would have been a respectful outing. Particularly when you consider what other artists who popped off in the SoundCloud era have experienced. Just look at the horrifying downfall of Smokepurpp and the flops it's led to. Among the biggest stars to emerge from that SoundCloud rap wave that took over the entire internet, the Florida native was a producer and rapper who seemed to have a whole host of potential. At one point, it was even reported that he was scouted by Travis Scott to sign with Cactus Jack.
Basically, I already fucked with Travis Scott, like his music. And then one day he just posted he didn't even post a video. He was on Instagram Live, like just listening to my music. And then people just started tagging me and I saw it. And I just, I hit him. I'm like, yo, really fuck with your shit. And then, he told me like it was like the same thing, like he really fucked with my shit. And then we just linked from there. We were just cool from there on.
After tracks like Audi and Nephew racked up platinum plaques, Smokepurpp looked to be capable of ascending to the upper reaches of the charts when he finally dropped his debut album, particularly when his mixtape Dead Star 2 landed at number 42. But its studio album sequel, Dead Star 2, didn't meet expectations, nor did it recoup on the investment that he and the record company put into it. When asked how many songs he recorded for the album, he responded, maybe like 500, 1,000? My manager just told me 800. Producer Apex Martin can vouch for me. I don't do anything but go to the studio. My label was getting mad at me. I wasted $2 million recording Dead Star 2. Peaking at number 137, it was a project which should have signified to Purpp that if he had to go back into the lab and finish a fresh new sound, that would help him to evolve. But instead, he pushed forward and dropped Florida Jit less than 7 months later. Here's where the real credibility-damaging flop came. His 4 million followers only translated to 4,000 first-week units, while even features from the likes of Jack Harlow, Denzel Curry, and Rick Ross couldn't help matter.
Damn.
Some fans blamed this failure on
Those are big names too, I ain't gonna lie. If they have features with big... Listen, now I don't expect it to do well, but you'll be surprised, man. Some of these artists be having big names featured on their songs, and then the numbers say otherwise. Like I feel like that's surprising to me. I would always be surprised about that, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Now it would be obviously you wouldn't be surprised if, for example, let's say Drake and Future do songs together, right? Because everybody knows that song is going to do great, But if it's someone, let's just say like this person that the video is talking about now, and the feature with Rick Ross, like he just said, didn't do well, then I'm gonna be surprised, That's just me, though.
His refusal to really advertise it. Just checked on his Insta and there is zero promo on there except for the cover art. But at that time, it's not unfeasible that Purpp likely presumed his name alone was enough to sell the project. Since then, he's never been able to recover, getting clowned online for half-empty shows in the process.
Damn. Wow.
In essence, this meant that he fulfilled the 1985 prophecy that was laid out by J. Cole, which said what was coming for the brash young SoundCloud kids.
That ain't true. When them kids that's listening can grow up and get too old for that shit that made you blow up.
Ooh.
Now your show's looking light because they don't show up, which unfortunately means the money's slow up.
But he's not the only one. In fact, the man who once dropped a track declaring fuck J. Cole and led to 1985's creation entirely has had a similarly painful fate. A longtime friend of Smokepurpp, Lil Pump became the brash poster child of his era for a little while. With tracks like D-Rose and Gucci Gang, as well as collaborating with Kanye West on I Love It, Pump seemed to have the world rocking with his drip-heavy, drug-infused approach to rap. His self-titled debut album sold 45K in its first week, while its follow-up, Harvard Dropout, sold 48,000 units too, and suggested he was heading towards those high sales figures that rappers envy. But things swerved way off course. Over time, his formula started grating on people, and a rebrand as a Trump supporter probably didn't help.
MAGA 2020. Don't forget that.
Wow.
Don't forget that. And do not vote for Sleepy Joe at all.
So by the time he dropped No Name with Ronnie J, the world had already decided he was irrelevant. Now, he was looking like a cautionary tale. The way Pump's career nosedived is insane. He was for sure a SoundCloud forerunner. He's like 6'9", rich and irrelevant. Surprisingly, he still didn't take the hint. In 2023, he tried to make a comeback with Lil Pump too, but this time it didn't even make the charts, likely selling around 40,000 less than the first one. To top it off, the music got roasted by critics.
But now we're learning this lesson even harder this time around. And that is whatever youthful energy and sort of punchy, direct approach that he had on the debut Lil Pump tape, that is gone. And hearing him try to alter it or grow it or advance it in some way is just not working. And yeah, it's just still not working. And on top of that, as he attempts to do other things, things other than, you know, what he sort of broke on the scene doing, he tries and he fails utterly because he is just a really a one-trick pony who doesn't really have the capability to do anything else musically other than, you know, walk in there like a boss. Ooh, which, I mean, song's a banger.
Now, it felt like everything Cole had said has since been true, but still, to this very day, he maintains that he hasn't fallen off.
Do you feel like he predicted kind of like what ended up happening with your rap career?
Nope.
No.
Because I'm still here. I'm
not saying that you're not like still fucking rich and successful. I just mean in terms of like, you know, I feel like there's so many parts of that era of rap where like people got fame so fast, they were so young. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I feel like that was some of the foresight that he was saying, not even necessarily about quote unquote falling off. You know what I mean?
The smart thing for Pump to have done is to have been self-aware of his longevity. He should have known that he was a fad. The people that listened to him were teens, and they grew up and got tired of that SoundCloud era. Speaking of fads, there are some who believe that the current female rap wave we're in might not be sustainable. Often, these women have a couple of hits and a whole host of buzz when they post online, but it often doesn't translate to actual sales. And if you thought Coi Leray flopped, you ain't seen nothing yet. Exploding onto the scene with her 2017 debut single Icy Girl, it seemed entirely possible that Saweetie was going to emerge as a real star to watch for in the future. However, things...
I ain't gonna lie, Saweetie. Yeah, she had her time, like he said, she had her time during, I would say, 2017, 2018, 2019. And then, like, to be honest, she started to decrease, like, as far as her, like, relevance and sales. I think it probably started decreasing around, I could be wrong, because she fell off too, low key, I ain't gonna lie. So I would say like around maybe 2020. I don't know.
Things haven't exactly panned out that way. While she has had fleeting moments of relevance, such as tracks like My Type, Tap In, and Best Friend with Doja Cat, those have been increasingly scarce since that first buzz. In fact, the last time that she broached the Billboard chart was when she landed on there alongside her with the track Closer. The song was originally slated for her debut album, but to date, it still hasn't emerged. And it's very possible that the failure of her next EP, November's The Single Life, might have had something to do with it. Despite her huge online following, the project only landed 2K first week sales. In response, producers like Sunny Digital couldn't believe what they had seen. 13 million followers, hundreds of thousands of likes on all pictures, and the album sold less than 2,000 copies. That's crazy. The math ain't adding up. If I had millions of followers and my album sold 2K, I probably would just delete all my social media because y'all are lying to me. He continued. Before I came up to give my opinion, I did listen to the album. I actually listened to everything that dropped that day, just out of curiosity to see what the competition was on. The whole thing had producer Hitmaker at a loss too, who believes that someone at Warner must have dropped the ball. Saweetie selling 2K is bad A&R vibes. Someone's supposed to tell you this ain't it. I also have issues with her having multiple platinum singles and not sticking with the same formula that got her there. Someone gotta get fired. As we know, the internet can be merciless when someone has a very public failure. And this was no exception, especially when people began to compare her to Glorilla, who had nearly 5 times less followers and still sold way more.
Glorilla, 2.5 million followers. Saweetie, 13 million. Okay, they got roughly about the same songs on both of their projects. Glorilla, who is with less followers, does 30K first week on the EP. Saweetie, with 10 million extra followers, does 2K.
Even when she tried to defend herself, it totally backfired. I make music for pretty bitches. If you can't relate, I understand. Damn, I didn't know there were only 2,000 pretty bitches in the world. Man, that's savage. With only an EP to her name since, Saweetie hasn't exactly sorted things out. In fact, she is still fighting to be known as something other than Quavo's ex or the other girl on Best Friend with Doja Cat.
Well, why you do that to me?
Because I wanted to make sure it was you.
That's all I got?
No, that ain't all you got. But
because I'm the icy girl. I was Mrs. McDonald's. I had a Mac campaign. I done broke some records.
Only time will tell if her long-awaited debut album, Pretty Bitch Music, can fare any better. But we wouldn't count on it. For Saweetie, it seems like she's just never been able to get out the starting gate and is unfortunately just seen as eye candy by most of those people who follow her online. But on other occasions, a flop can result from an entirely different set of circumstances where someone who was once on finally finds that all their momentum has disappeared in the wind. And this is where you get stories like Fetty Wap. Exploding out of New Jersey with singles like Trap Queen, Fetty was an unlikely star. However, his unique vocals and inherent talent for melody meant that his first album sold over 300,000 units at a time, when those numbers would have still been very impressive from a legend of the game, never mind a novice. And at the time, he was savoring the superstar life that a #1 album will bring you.
Baby, it's the Zoo Gang, oh my god. Yo, it's the fucking Zoo!
But since then, it's felt like every little thing has gone south. After issues with his label 300 left him on the shelf, Fetty became aware that he was falling off in real time.
I know for a fact I was clearing 100,000 every day. Now, the day I woke up and I only made like 40,000, I'm like, some shit ain't right. You get what I'm saying? And I'm like, 40,000, 40,000, 40,000, 30,000. Hey, we want to book Fetty for 50,000. Like, what the fuck?
Oh, okay. This is what time?
This is the end of 2017.
Okay.
And I'm like, all right, it's happening. I'm like, this where shit started getting dark.
When asked about what happened, he claimed that there had been something that had gone wrong, but suggested there was a way out. Bad business managers, greed, and selfishness, but it's almost over. He wrote in the comment section of IG when someone asked why he fell off. I got rid of all that goofy shit around me. Now I can focus on the music, and I'm going the fuck up. Just watch. Sure enough, Fetty returned to the music world after that. But unfortunately, the albums The Butterfly Effect and King Zoo haven't charted whatsoever. If you told someone in 2015 that this would happen to Fetty, I promise you that they would not believe you. But that's only one side of the story. Once the money dried up, Fetty revered back to hustling, and at the moment, he's serving a 6-year sentence for drug running. As a result, his journey is seen as a sad example of what happens when careers go wrong.
This whole story is sad.
Yeah. Like, dog,
he ain't supposed to have as many hits as he got.
He did it.
Yeah. No, he did it.
He did it. Like he beat the game. You know what I'm saying? And got dragged back in. That's crazy to me.
In Fetty's case, he represents a rare occasion when an artist has reached the summit of the game, only for flopping projects to lead him back in the opposite direction.
I can't speak for us. I know Fetty Wap the rapper. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know no drug dealer, like that. But of course, I see a lot with local rappers, and especially with local rappers, because once you spend all your money and you got to go back to what you know. I see a lot of happen with. I see it more happen with artists that's not at the top, that haven't been to the top, than rap.
I'm at checkerboard, bro. I'm at checkerboard. My fault, yeah. I'm at checkerboard. I never seen a flannel before like that. Like that design alone, you know what I'm saying? Because the average flannel you see is like stripes, stripes or a plain color, or even with like certain shapes on it. But I'm talking about like a checkerboard flannel. This is my first time ever seeing that. I'm dead serious.
Rappers who would have been up there. I ain't never really seen it with rappers who already up there. Then go back all the way to the streets, like heavy in the game.
On the subject of the top of the game, we have none other than Jack Harlow. Now, you might be thinking he's a funny addition to this list. After all, he's a superstar, right? Well, in truth, young Harleezy might be famous, but he's never really delivered on the charts the way his label nor he likely ever expected. After putting years in on the grind as a teenager, Jack Harlow found his success when he linked up with DJ Drama and Don Cannon's Generation Now label. After hits like What's Poppin' and Tyler Hero, he was looked at as hip-hop's next great commercial star, particularly with movie roles lining up and an adoring female audience who decided he was a Riz master.
I'll see you in there.
Can't wait. Love you. Bye.
Love ya.
Combine all that with the runaway success that the track First Class, which sampled Fergie's Glamorous, he looked like he could really be the one. He even started to believe it himself. Being number one is what made M so hard. He was in the dog pile. Harlow said, I want to be the face of my shit, like the face of my generation for the next 10 years. We need more people in my generation that are trying to be the best. And you can't do that with just ear candy, vibe records. You gotta come out swinging sometimes. It looked like he was set to be crowned with the release of his second album, Come Home, The Kids Miss You. It pretty much seemed like the whole world was behind him too, with Lil Durk remarking,
Unlock the world's largest, most liquid financial market with Forex.com.
marking that he told Jack Harlow a couple days ago he gonna do 200K first week. With its all-star cast of collaborators including Drake, Pharrell, Justin Timberlake, Lil Wayne, and a whole bunch of other legends, Jack built this to be the record that would define his artistry.
You'll be able to hear a big difference between this one and the last one because I'm so involved in the production and, the arrangements and the sound selection, the chord choices. Like, I just had my hands all over this. I think I was picking some beats out of packs on the last project. I would get a beat and that would be the finished product. This time, everything was cooked from scratch. I wrote so many of the records while the beat was being made in front of me. It was just everything kind of came from this ground up situation.
But when it dropped, it seriously failed to ignite imaginations the way he imagined. Originally expected to sell around 180 to 200K, it ended up selling around 110, comfortably handing the #1 spot to Bad Bunny's Un Verano Sin Ti. Meanwhile, the reviews were brutal, with the album being savaged for its lack of originality and surprising depth of personality. Although he sold 110K, it still felt like an L in relative terms, and it's one that he's been trying to regroup from ever since. Not given the green light to go and be the megastar in the way that he hoped, Jack then tried to tap back into his roots with the 2023 follow-up of Jackman. This time, there were no big names or blockbuster singles, just bars, and it only sold 33K. And although it was meant to prove that he was still invested in his craft, all it really did was confuse people.
I think the demo for Jack Harlow is 15 to 33. The fuck is he doing here? Yeah, that's why this is weird to me, because he just sold way too many records and they put way too much money in him just now, and he did all right.
This feels like it's trying to be his rapper album.
I don't know, but I know you have to spend money to get a return, and this is silent. This is quiet, so I would be interested to see that this sound like less than 30,000 copies.
Sure enough, Joe was actually right on that occasion. Now, Jack has bounced back upon his latest single, Lovin' On Me. And for almost a year, he remained silent. Another rapper who remains silent for the most part is Polo G, who just so happens to be the next entry on our list. Bigs up to be one of the biggest artists out of Chicago for the newer generation. Polo G has made countless smash hits over the years.
Yo, Polo G, bro. I'm being serious right now. This man was going crazy, especially during 2019, 2020. And you could say 2021 as well. Like, for real. You know what I'm saying?
including songs like Rap Star, Go Stupid, and Finer Things. And while his rise in the game has come with his fair share of controversies, his albums always sold surprisingly well. From debuting with 38,000 first week sales for Die a Legend to 99,000 for The GOAT, and then peaking at a massive 143,000 units for Hall of Fame, it seemed like his sales were only destined to keep climbing higher and higher. However, after an extensive 3-year hiatus, his latest album, The Hood Poet, was his worst-selling project to date. Despite being packed with A-list features such as Kid Leroy, Lil Durk, Glorilla, and Future, and even the use of the good old "I might retire after this one" marketing gimmick, his album came and went, and only sold 24,000 units in his first week. It's pretty clear that a few outside factors may have pulled his focus. For one, his brother Trench Baby is currently facing serious legal troubles, including being charged with murder. On top of that, Polo G himself was involved in legal troubles that prevented him from dropping.
Because what happened recently with your the Hood Poet was supposed to release and it didn't release.
Yeah,
Well,
I end up.
that was because you went through some shit, right?
Yeah, I end up going through some like a little situation, you know, and that just caused me to push my album back. I actually too, like, I just wasn't feeling like the time was right no more. Like with everything that I had going on, I wanted it to be like a smooth rollout, like something that I was used to.
He was also recently arrested in LA for weapon possession, which further added even more distractions to the mix. Plus, the music itself was pretty ordinary and didn't offer anything new or exciting. It was more of the same, and that likely left fans disinterested, tired of hearing the same old sound without any fresh twists.
But I feel like we've already experienced this Polo before. We've already experienced this style. We kind of already got peak Polo years ago. So it's like, how much more Polo can we get that we haven't already heard?
Now, Polo is on record saying he'll never do another long hiatus in between albums again, which shows he realized the negative effect it had.
I'm definitely not gonna ever do this 3-year, 2-year break shit ever again in my life, though.
Factors like these, alongside with his transition to a more sober lifestyle, could have played a role in Polo G's disastrous album rollout. At the moment, he and his team are likely doing everything they could to avoid another flop. Because, as this list should have taught you, the stain often stays around, and eventually, it might even define your career if it's dramatic enough that the whole world hears of it. And if you want to hear more about flops in hip-hop, you can click one of the 2 videos on the screen. As always, it's your boy Luesta, and I want to thank y'all for watching today's video. Don't forget to tune in for the next one that's coming in.
Alright, well, that was the video, guys. You know what I'm saying? I just had to give my opinion, you know, and my reaction, of course. Yeah, guys. Hopefully y'all have a good day too. You know what I'm saying? It's been your boy Tollax, and I'm out. Deuces.